Good morning, everyone. Okay. So you see that I will be teaching you society, which is not sociology, first off, that we have to understand the difference between society and sociology. So our focus on society will be a holistic understanding of everything, which is there to be read in the newspaper as well as which is there to be read in our fundamental courses. For example, starting with today, what is the biggest news that you found in the today's newspaper? Huh? Israel and Iran. Okay. And what is the how you will understand this news in the societal context? Is there anything to be understood in this news in the societal context with which you can at least break it down? Religious? Okay, yes. One of the most important thing is that there is a plural relation and how these are used as a binding tool for the antagonistic interest, isn't it? Israel is one relation, Iran is another relation. But most importantly, if you will follow this news, then you will understand that when Iran bombarded or when Iran used 300 drones, more than 300 drones and other ballistic and cruise missiles, one of the Islamic countries, which is Jordan, Jordan shoot these missiles, drones, and everything in their airspace, signifying or manifesting a trend towards that there is a polarization and fragmentation in the Islamic society itself, isn't it? And this fragmentation is against emanating out of different kind of sect, isn't it? So even though Jordan is a society which is far similar to the and follows the principle of largely Saudi Arabia, so but the whole context in which it can be seen that at least it is trying to challenge the supremacy or the theological state of Iran, isn't it? Means that we have to understand, and probably if you will see that last year in 2022 there was a question about the sects in the religion, even in the Hindu religion, that there are multiple sects in the Hindu religion. Can you tell me any of the sects in the Hindu religion? Is there any sect? Which sect is there? Shaivites, Vaishnavites. What is a sect? Any understanding of this? Exactly. And they believe that with their belief system, everything in this world can be explained. And there is no space for another of the belief system. So this is largely the definition of sect, which we will come to eventually. Now, another news. How many of you have gone through the manifesto of BJP and Congress? Any idea about that? Are you aware of a term called Gyan? No one? Gyan, G-Y, not in its literal meaning, but what we are trying to understand is the figurative meaning of Gyan. अरे कल ही आया था ना बीजेपी के मैनिफेस्टो में ज्ञान. And any idea about the Congress manifesto? Okay, so basically what we are trying to understand here, which has been a debate of late, that why Congress is losing its position. Hugh, any idea? Any idea whatsoever figuratively? We are not going into the political debate yet, what we are trying to understand is the overall traits of the social significance in the society. So why Congress is not performing in a good way? Any of the age group. See, probably if you will see the manifesto of the Congress, then there's this very uh, popular and very important underlying theme is जिसकी जिससे इतनी हिस्सेदारी उसकी उतनी भागीदारी. So largely what we are talking about social justice here, but there can be multiple interpretation of the social justice. Even Gyan is one of the manifestations or trait of the social justice where we are focusing upon the Naris, emerging technology, those people who are left behind, subaltern. So this is Gyan, isn't it? So, but the manifestation, the way in which talked about, one is talking about the caste census, another is talking about that there should be equal rights on the knowledge. So, it is creating a kind of narrative building, and probably if you have heard about it, then Congress is losing the narrative war, isn't it? What is this narrative what we are talking about? So you see that even in any of the news that you will find that something which is very important to us is the social significance of that news. And if you will analyze the paper of last 3 years particularly, previously there was a trend towards the largely fundamental questions. Now in these 3 years there has been a shift toward the contemporary manifestations of the questions, where we are analyzing that what is the overall impact of IT cities on the type B and type C cities, and particularly the women in these cities, how the middle class is changing. Okay, yes, there are questions which are very fundamental in nature and which can be answered only on the understanding of the society section. For example, that there are so many different markers in the Indian society, so how you will identify tribe as a common group? How you identify tribe in the question? This was the question in 2023, I believe. So what can be the answer? So this is largely the part which can only and only be answered through the fundamental knowledge. So our society sections will be in a minimum of 15 class, in which we will try to finish up the syllabus, and it will be divided into multiple sections. Okay, but exactly what we have and how we have to read the society, what are the sources? So till now, what are you reading for the sources, or what are you reading in the society sections? What books are you referring to? Ram Ahuja is one of the book I believe that most of the you people are referring to. No? Ram Ahuja. It is one of the most famous book, though completely irrelevant to the demands of the UPSC, but most of the people are referring to this books only. See, you have to refer to NCRT and the newspaper. The newspaper will be your only source. Because why we are saying so, that we have to understand that exactly what is the demand of the mains question. Is it visible to everyone? Now, see, these are the words which is taken from the notification of the UPSC. So I haven't written anything from my idiosyncrasies, but this is completely the syllabus words. Questions are intended to assess the overall intellectual truths and depths of understanding of candidate rather than merely the range of the information. Traits and depth. What is the meaning of traits and depth in here? इसी नहीं चल रहा अमित? See, if you will see any of the questions of the UPSC, you will understand that even with your basic knowledge, even without any study of the society section, we will be able to answer it. Isn't it? Ultimately, what is society? That, whatever is happening around us, we will be able to understand it. And because we are a member of it. So what exactly is happening in the Korean society is not any of our concern. How many of you people have seen the movie called Parasite? And what you found about that movie? Anything interesting? Okay, now most of you people are following BTS band, or at least you have heard about the BTS band. No? So how different, probably, if you will see the difference in the era, just think about it. In the maybe 1970s, 80s to till 2000, there were some bands called Metallica, Guns N' Roses. Okay, and there were a lot of rock and metal and punk kind of band. Now we have BTS, where guy dresses up and do all kind of makeups and dance something like. So this is the big difference now in overall society. In the, probably, if you will understand that very interesting anecdote in this case is that one of the major reason for the disintegration of the USSR was metal bands. How many of you are aware of this fact? No one? See, in the Polish society, as it happened that rock bands started performing and people were gathering together, congregating together, and they were just exposing the ideas. Okay, so the USSR government banned it, but particularly the government of Nikita Khrushchev. Okay, so in retaliation against that, more and more people started gathering. And this was further accentuated by the band called Rammstein, which is a German band, and something like that, who largely were the punk band and just extrapolated the ideas. So ultimately, it acted in a way which resulted into disintegration of USSR. Now just consider about the society at that time. Single mother crisis in United States. How many of you have you seen the movie Forrest Gump? No one. लाल सिंह चड्ढा? किसने देखी है लाल सिंह चड्ढा? किसी ने भी नहीं. ये तो अच्छा किया. But Forrest Gump, you have to see the Forrest Gump. Okay. So Forrest Gump is one of the brilliant movie. And probably it is trying to capture the changes. And now there is a recent series or probably movie on Netflix called Elvis. Any idea about that? No one. See, the overall changes in the American society, in the Indian society, are represented by this movie. From single mother to Vietnam War to use of the drugs. Particularly these rock bands were manifestation of that culture. So it is not that, even in the United States, there are some elements which is still there from the 1920 societies manifested by Mr. Littlefingers. Who is Mr. Littlefinger? Read newspaper. Donald Trump. उसके देखे ना उंगलियां कितनी छोटी छोटी सी है उसकी शक्ल. ठीक है. So he has often been referred as Mr. Littlefingers in the funny way, in the common parlance. So you see, he is one thing which can be explained as far right. Donald Trump. Now, and there is Biden also. A manifestation or a representations of the libertarian sections or the liberal sections. Okay, so you see the elements of tradition as well as continuity and change is existing in the United States society, and this has also been seen in our society. In Korean society, there is a group called chaebols, CHABYOLs, meaning big corporate houses. LG, Samsung, Hyundai, these are the big houses. There is a misconception in the student that South Korea is a democratic society. How many of you are aware with this fact? That is South Korea now a democratic society, or it has been the democratic society since the beginning? What is the status of the or nature of the Korean society? Is it democratic? नॉर्थ कोरिया तो सबको पता है डेमोक्रेटिक नहीं है, बट साउथ कोरिया का क्या स्टेटस है? See, South Korea was a society which is often classified as soft authoritarian. Something like Modi ji. No. Modi is democratic. Soft authoritarian. It was a soft authoritarian society till 1996. Now, after that, it has changed to democratic society. But before that, it was a soft authoritarian society. So, some of the corporate houses like Adani and Ambani, at par with the Korean society, they grew really big. And these houses were named as LG, Samsung, है ना? So these were the big groups, these were the shibboleths, based on which the development can be witnessed in the Korean society. So there is a far gap in the Korean society as compared to the Indian society. Some of the players are very big, and most of the players, even in Seoul, which is the capital of South Korea, even in Seoul, you will see that a complete differentiation is there. And the BTS is the manifestation and perpetuation of the ruling class ideology. Two, so Marx नहीं बोलते कि भाई music और medium से गरीब बना के रखो. So this is the one of the manifestations that, just through the use of the culture, people are not realizing that they are in pain. So this is the idea. This is the idea which is shown in the movie called Parasite, that there is one man who is very, very, very rich. Okay, and there the people who are working, how they are living. They are living in the ghettos. What is ghetto? Rooms in Rachan Nagar. Okay, so these are particularly you see the slum type of behavior. See, the problem is that you are living in a very small and congested place and eating anything which is served to you in the name of food. Okay, so this is similar to ghettoization of your life, but these are the problems that you will face when you are in the student life. Now, how many of you are aware of the fact that one of the prominent economists who was a government advisor in recent past has said that the tendency of Indian youth for preparing for UPSC preparation shows an impoverished mindset? Huh? Are you aware of any such kind of news? हाँ, exactly. थोड़े टाइम पहले आया था. अभी 2 हफ्ते पहले का न्यूज था कि it shows a impoverished mindset, a colonial mindset where you can get the power through UPSC. So that's why impoverished. Now, but at the same time, there is a trend towards the startup culture, manifested by ये जो आपके serials चल रहे हैं, Shark Tank India. And you see that the places in Bangalore or in Gurgaon or somewhere like that, there is a rush toward the startup culture. What is the startup culture? How of late it has been so prominent in the Indian society, and why the people of some generation are still towards the UPSC or the competitive government job mindset? What exactly has changed in these many years? What is one of the देखो ये ऐसा कुछ नहीं है कि इसके लिए आपको पढ़ना पड़ेगा. This is the question which can be answered by any of the student, or even some 10th class wala students also. कि what is the most important thing for starting a startup? Yes. Identification of problem and walking in that direction, isn't it? So what we are essentially talking about is the nature or the capacity to take risk. So what exactly has changed in the Indian society? That capacity to take risk has increased to a significant extent as compared to the 1980s wala generation or 1990s wala generation. Any idea? So this is what we are talking about. This is breadth and depth. The first part is answered by everyone. The second part you have to identify. The second part you have to write in the examination. Breadth and depth. You have identified the first part. So that would be a bit generic as per the, if we have to write about the answers in this question. Isn't it? Now just think about it. That the kids of the 1990s or maybe early 1980s and early 1990s. These are the kids. So these were the students, these were the children of transitional era, particularly the 1990s kid. Transitional क्यों? Yes, towards digitalization, most importantly towards globalization. They started seeing the impact of the global society. See, what is the problem? That in the initial phases, job security was not there. People were protesting against it. In the 1980s, mills in Ahmedabad as well as mills in Bombay were closing down. People started migrating from rural areas to urban areas during the 1990s onwards. And there is a very beautiful theory of one of the sociologists, I will not name the name. It talks about the tourist and it talks about the vagabond. Who is a tourist? One who migrated with his own volition. बोर हो रहा है क्या? Volition क्या होता है? Individual volition. Who migrated by himself. And the other who migrated forcefully. So the one who migrated with his own need or own volition is successful. One who was forced to migrate is living in the urban slums. So in the 1990s, there was this generational shift. People were not exactly identifying the scope of the globalizations. So in this changing time, the stability was provided by the government jobs. More importantly, with the recession kind of mind, in 2008, people saw that those people who are not government jobs were struggling even in the United States or across anywhere. And those people with the government job were stable. In 1998, in 2001, all these three recessions, people looked for the stability. And stability was provided by the government jobs. But those people who returned from after 20 years, they thought that it is a prudent time in Indian society to take risk. And this is where the entrepreneur generally started. Risk taking, attitudes of risk taking. This was absent in the previous times. In the previous era, the only jobs, it was not about the job security. But if you will think about who got the respect, those people who were working in the government sector. Because in the Indian society of old, in the colonial times, just after the advent of the British, respect came from the government jobs. And this was essentially the middle class of India. And this tendency continued for the government jobs. That's why the middle class, which is also the element of change in any of the society, is conservative as well as progressive in India. Understood my point? Why Pakistan is failing? Because of lack of innovation. No, they are very innovative, particularly when it comes to terrorism. Okay. And you see, no, they are very innovative, particularly see, if you will see that in their foreign policy, they are taking a lot of steps, maybe in Afghanistan, maybe in Iran. So there, the particular innovation is also there. You see that middle class is absent in Pakistan. What is the number of the middle class? Those people who migrated from India to Pakistan either were very affluent or either were very poor. So those poor people, so lack of middle class created a condition where democracy was not stable. Middle class is the progressive society. It will always be the progressive society. And that's why some of the people are raising concern that during these 10 years, the number of the middle class has decreased in India or contracted in India. So this is one of the another important element. So you see that any of the societal question, societal topic, societal syllabus has to be seen with its in trait and depth. You have to identify the pattern that it will create. The more number of points in this regard you will write, the more answer, the marks you will get. So is it limited to society only? How many of you seen have the questions of the essay? देखा है ना essay? And what you have to write in the essay? Yeah, this can be answered by any of the students. So you see that essay is what? So you of late since 2018, there has been a trend of quotation based. You are given a quotation and you have to write answer accordingly, isn't it? So what you have to write in the essay and why particularly quotation has been given. See, suppose, if we talk about an examined life is no life at all, unexamined life is no life, quotation by Plato. So you see that Plato has been commenting upon the traits of his own society. नहीं है? क्या स्टोरी है यहाँ पे? किसी को पता है? सॉक्रेटिस को जहर दिया गया था ना, तो उसकी एक बड़ी अच्छी लिटरेचर है 22 पेजेस की, जिसका नाम है द अपॉलजी ऑफ सॉक्रेटिस. पढ़ के देखना कभी, बहुत ज्यादा काम आएगी आप लोगों को. ठीक है, 20 उसने जो स्पीच बोला है वहां पे, उस पे यही एलिगेशन था ना, दैट ही वाज करप्टिंग द यूथ. ओके, सो दिस वाज द एलिगेशन ऑन हिम. So he gave a speech and this was related by the Plato in Justice and other books. Okay, so you see the Plato was commenting upon the needs of his own society. So and now we have given the same quote. So we have to, using our knowledge of society and newspaper reading, we have to write an essay in such a way that everything can be commented upon. You have to identify the multiple factors, be it economy, be it legal, be it environmental, be it societal, be it political, and you have to write essay using all these paradigms. So society is not limited to 70 marks. If used properly, then it will fetch you another 40 marks, important 40 marks in the essay. So that brings us to my introduction. My name is Abhijit Nirja, and I've been teaching society and essay for the UPSC since 2018 in the Lukmaan IAS. And those people who are scoring good in society are always scoring good in the essays. Now, of late, there has been allegations or not allegations. I've been listening rumors that this time in the mains, students are scoring in the double digit in the essays. Some of the peoples are saying that people are scoring in the double digit. And groups on Telegram or any other groups has been insinuated by that the results will be very bad in the essay. So I don't want you to end up in that position. So simply by improving the society, see, I will only guide you. It is your wisdom. You have to read newspaper. You have to analyze everything. And I will provide you with the data and such other thing, but it will be your decision and how you will use these data so that you can write a better structured, better informative and nearly holistic answers in the society section. Which brings us to the second part, which is a corollary to the first, that a well-educated person, I have already explained it, that well-educated person can answer any of the questions. Now, relevant issues, ability to analyze and take a view of the conflicting socio-economic goals in a succinct way. This is all about answer writing. What is succinct? Very important word. It is written in the UPSC syllabus. Succinct means to the point. So you have to use everything in your knowledge. You have to draw the diagrams, chart, whatever it is. You have to write answers in point or through the representation in such that most of the topics are nearly or most of the points are nearly covered in your answer. For example, just there is a topic called farmers movement, or overall we are seeing that there has been a change in the farmers movement. Of late, it was in the news. Huh? So if I ask you, what is the change that you are witnessing in the farmers movement? What would be your answer? History कितने लोगों की खत्म हो गई यहाँ पे? At least once. History. पढ़ा तो होगा ही ना कभी इधर उधर थोड़ा बहुत. So you see that there are after post-independence history that there were movements like in 1960s, 1950s. 50s में कौन सा movement हुआ था? तिभागा movement, तेलंगाना movement, Naxalite movement, isn't it? 1960s, Bhudan. 1970s, it was a violent movement led by Bharat Kisan Union and many of the groups, and it was witnessed all across India. Who was the leader of Bharat Kisan Union? Chaudhary Charan Singh Tikait, है ना? And Karnataka, Raju Sahitkari Sangh Sangathan of Maharashtra, KSSS of Karnataka. So if you will try to analyze the patterns of the farmers movement in India, then you will realize that from 1947 to 1962, movement supported the government. All they wanted is more land reforms. From 1960 to 1988 onwards, the nature of the movement was changed. From 1962, it was Bhudan, automatic movement against the government. And after that, it completely changed to the government. Till 1988 to 2013, it was against the globalization. From 2013 till now, sorry, not till now, to 2019, it was against land acquisitions and such and so, and for the poor farmers. Now, it is again supporting the rich farmers in the case of Punjab Wala movement. And for the mass scale changes in the society. So you see that even in the farmers movement, there were nearly 7 to 8 trends which was witnessed. Similarly, if we talk about the women's movement, so you have to identify the trends from in the initial period. Some women here and there raised the issue of women's issue. For example, education, Sati Pratha. If we will talk about 1926 onwards, with the rise of All India Women Development Association, there were issues like Uniform Civil Code, issues like age of marriage, age of consent. So this continued till 1933. After that, the communal right came and the question of national independence was raised. So Gandhi, in his all traits, diverted the energy of the woman towards the national achievement. So from 1947, nobody questions about the question of the woman. Question of the woman means what? The questions which are specific to the needs, interest of the woman. See, independence is the specific, not specific to the woman's need. Independence is for all the people. है ना? Question specific to the woman, that what is their role in the development. So even after 1990s, when women are working in the labor market, do you think that they are the decision maker at home, even financial decision maker? Or rather they are feeling the double jeopardy. They are working in home and they are working in the office. So there is no rest. No autonomy regarding the children's, or everything is decided by the family itself. So what is the status? How the change in the woman is being witnessed, or the overall society is being witnessed? For example, now there have been a lot of series on the Amazon or from any of the OTT platforms which supports the right of the woman. Some of the series are, I think, I'm forgetting the name. Don't think me as a patriarch, but four shorts, something, some series are there, na? 4 more shorts. YouTube, Amazon Prime series, I guess. 4 more shorts, and there are a lot of series and serials and web series which are available on the OTT platforms or even in the movies. Tanushri, what is the name of Tapshi Pannu? Tapti Pannu. So all these series, okay. So it says, see again, but what is the nature of the feminism? Is it completely in synchronicity with the Western demands, or the feminism in India has its own character? Huh? See, some of this Pinjola Tod movement, okay, or what's in my cloth, these kinds of movement, it's completely manifesting towards the Western society. But in case of India, feminism also has its own traits. So you have to identify such kind of traits, and these will be the issues that we will take in the subsequent class. Now, these are the syllabus, salient feature of the Indian society, which we will cover in the last. Because salient feature of the Indian society means the traits which are unique to the India only. And we will realize only after we will read all the syllabus. And role of the women's and women organization, population and associated issues, poverty and developmental issues, urbanization, their problems, their remedies, effect of globalization on Indian society, social empowerment, communalism, regionalism, and secularism. So, salient feature: rural urban setting, urban, caste, tribe, parochial identity group, religion and assimilation associated with the points of difference, different conception of continuous culture, the aspect of uniformity, diversity in cultural, linguistic, regional, and religious issues. You see that for nearly everything, and if you will see the whole syllabus, it is very hard to dissect the syllabus into one of the groups. So even if we are reading the women issues, it can have multiple viewpoints: the economic viewpoint, the political viewpoint, the social viewpoint, the global viewpoint. So and if we will converge everything, then the whole syllabus of the society cannot be dissected, fragmented, divorced from each other. It is nearly one and same. The caste and the woman. What is your opinion about the caste, overall impact of caste and woman? Double discrimination. Is it that simple? Yes, it is double discrimination, but if we will try to understand the caste in its wider context, then we will realize that the lower caste women and the scheduled caste women were more free than the upper caste women. One of the point Second, that there was nearly egalitarian relationships in the tribal women. Fine. Now, what is the impact of development of class on women? As the class is developing in the tribal societies, the egalitarian equation is decreasing. And this is also true for the OBCs and SCs, because now they are thinking, due to the impact of Sanskritization, that if the upper caste are not letting their women work, we will also not, because as we will lose our significance as male in the society. So this is the reason because of which after globalization, when the income of the Indian middle class increased, the participation of the woman in the labor market has decreased. नहीं, ये पढ़ रहे होगे ना आप लोग कि भाई there is a decrease in the participation of the woman. In the initial period when the agriculture was the only source, women used to work in the agricultural field. One. Two, that wherever you see that the societies where the rice is grown, Bengal, Northeast, South India, the position of the woman is more liberated as compared to the wheat growing fields, Punjab, Haryana, Uttar Pradesh, Bihar, okay, and such other region. What is the region? Huh? Exactly, the significance, the economic significance of women is not there in these states. In the rice growing field where you need pulp hands to go for the swamping in the field, the economic significance of women is there. In the tribal areas where which is still acting as hunting and gathering society, the economic significance of women is there. But in the field, in the Haryana and Punjab, where till 1970s there was only one district with the adverse population ratio, has now increased to 23 districts. है ना? क्यों? सिग्निफिकेंस ही खत्म हो गया ना, वुमेन्स जा ही नहीं रही खेत पे खाना लेके या कुछ और करके. And in one word, heavy mechanization. And as the mechanization will increase in the agricultural sector, the overall significance will decrease. Why there is violence against the old age population? In the initial period, they were heard because they had this economic significance to take care of the children's, grandchildren's in their home. Now, the rise of the specialized institutions, creches, the rise of the nuclear family, and the overall anachronization मतलब जिसका relevance घटता जाता है. See, decisional making power is not there. If any of you follow the stand-up comedy, one of the most point of comment, on which the people of the older generation are made fun of, is the emphasis on the FD, fixed deposit, isn't it? Now the FD is no longer working because it is not able to beat the inflation also. So their overall decision or decision-making power as per the changing time is not there. So again, their significance has decreased. Violence against them has increased. So we have to understand the society from these perspectives. Is caste dead or alive? Or is weakening? So these are the questions. Because you see that if you will eventually take the question, then you will realize that there is always caste as in associational form. What is the meaning of caste is as in associational form? Why post COVID and with the rise of online education, the number of tribal children are decreasing in the class, or dropout ratio has become high for the tribal students? What are the reasons? See, lack of, even for that criteria, most of the things would have decreased, na? So you see that if we will try to analyze the syllabus of the UPSC of the society sections, there is no limitation to it. Everything will come under it. है ना? But how to limit that part? See, my job is to teach you. My role is to teach you or to show you the reach directions. Now you have to analyze by yourself by reading the newspaper, and you have to, suppose in case of any exigencies, वैसे तो मैं बोलूंगा कि भाई हर कोई टीचर बोलेगा अपनी मार्केटिंग करने के लिए कि मैं जो पढ़ाऊंगा उससे बाहर नहीं आएगा, लेकिन अगर आ गया तो वो आपने सॉल्व करना है, मैं नहीं कर पाऊंगा फिर वो, ठीक है, ये हर कोई बोलेगा कि इससे बाहर नहीं आना चाहिए, ठीक है, आ भी सकता है, ऐसा कुछ नहीं है. Say for example, I never taught sect because I specifically thought it is the syllabus of the sociology section. So sect for me was forbidden as per the UPSC syllabus, but they have asked about it. In 2019, they asked the question on relative deprivation, and which is very specific sociology subject. What is relative deprivation? अभी सोनम वांगचुक को देख रहे हो ना आप, पहले कभी वो चल रहा था, इस टाइप का मूवमेंट चल रहा था लद्दाख में. Now, what is the reason for the such kind of movement today? Initially, they were under JNK. Now they got the independence post 370, abrogation of 370. Now they want more power. Okay, and their power can be seen as per the status of Delhi or Pondicherry. They are deprived as per Delhi and Pondicherry, but their position has overall improved when we see it in the context of Kashmir, the Purana wala Kashmir, JNK. So this kind of traits are called relative deprivation, where deprivation is only felt when we see a different group or when we compare it to a different group altogether. है कि नहीं? So this was specifically sociology wala section. Now they have asked it in the UPSC means these society sections. So you see that maybe once or twice you will always see such kind of question which is a bouncer, but using the generic knowledge it can be answered. Now, these are the traits and the questions. What make Indian society unique in sustaining its culture? Again, if you will see that this questions be generically answered by any of you. There is no specific demand that this cannot be answered. But sustaining its culture, what we are essentially talking about is change and continuity. Second, do we have cultural pockets of the small India? Caste system is assuming new identities and associational form. Any idea about this question? What you will write in here? Politicization of caste, one of the factors. Caste, see, there are groups like Muslim Yadav combination. कहाँ पे? यूपी, MY ना, my combination बोलते हैं हम उसको. Muslims and Yadavs. There is a combination like Kshatriya, Harijan, Ahir and Muslim, Kham in Gujarat, based on which Congress won. So you see that there are different combinations, and largely in the political parlance as it is called social engineering. है ना? So this kind of combinations can be found anywhere. Now, see, in the earlier period there was a trend towards Sanskritization. Sanskritization क्या हुआ करता था? That you try to imitate You try to imitate the culture of the upper class so that you can end up as a upper class in 1 or 2 generation. Now we are seeing a trend towards Sudrais or tribalization. The Gujars in Rajasthan want to be tribe. The Kapus in Andhra Pradesh wants to be OBC. The Jats and Marathas wants to be the OBC quota for themselves. Why? Why there is a movement towards the Sudrais in Indian polity? Because through this kind of thing, more and more secular benefits can be got. Secular benefits in what is secular benefits in this sense? Government jobs, isn't it? Right now, it is giving you the status, it is giving you the resources, the OBC quota. So, Sudrais, associational forms, how we are interacting with the power sharing, balancing of the power, democratic bargain. So, these are the terms that you have to write in this question. Okay. Now, this is the question. Distinguish between religiousness, religiosity and communalism, giving one example how the former got transformed into the later in independent India. Religiosity. Yesterday or day before yesterday, I'm not exactly sure, but there was a news in the Hindu about the Lokniti CSDS survey. याद है किसी को? पढ़ा है किसी ने? What was the news? अखबार पढ़ा करो. You are not reading the newspaper. At least, see, basically, जो एक छोटा सा इंटरेस्टिंग स्टोरी सुनाता हूँ. Now, how many of you drive? Okay. So now we are driving on, and probably those who do not drive, who sits or co-ride, will feel the change. In the initial period, maybe prior to 2014 or 15, when we used to drive, we used to see that there is a pan wala shop, there is a pakode wala shop, usse left lena hai, usse right lena hai, then we will go to our destination. है ना? So we used to see everything on the road. Where is the post office? Where is the khane wala dukan? Now we are driving, we are just listening to the music. We are using the Google map, or for that matter, any of the maps which you are using, and we are going, poker face towards our destination. And in the meantime, someone will search for the yahan pe khana acha milta hai. This is the, and even that khana acha wala part, you will end up like 5-star wala dhaba, Amrik dhaba. How many of you have went to that Sukhdev Amrik dhaba? कितना गंदा खाना है उसका. Okay. So you see, previously, as it used to happen, that when human used to walk, he used to leave markers everywhere. What were these markers? Suppose if any of you are interested in trekking, if you will go to Himachal Pradesh or Uttarakhand, then you will see that the Bakkarwal trace are leaving this much bigger stones at some places. So these used to be their markers. These markers were that probably next year when they will come, they will recognize this place by using these markers. So human has a tendency to leave marker everywhere. And this has helped in his evolution. So human evolution came through the climatic pattern, weather pattern, overall what are there in the journey. So they used to recognize everything. Now with the increase in the technology or frequent use of technology, what we are seeing is a counter cognitive evolution. Earlier, the evolution was based on cognition. We used to see that these are the patterns. There we will find these animals. Where we will find these kind of trees. All the classification of the forest into different criteria are based on these level of cognition. Now, if you will see, some people in Kerala died. 3 doctors in the Kerala died because they were over dependent on the Google map and they drove their car in a river. याद है किसी को न्यूज़ ये वाला? They literally in the night they drove their car in the river, not seeing that the Google map is wrong. So the cognition was not there. The evolution is not happening in cognitive way, and it will have a significant impact, overall impact. Okay, so this kind of evolution and the technology which is changing this have to be understood. You have to see that all such kind of answers are identifying that kind of paradox, differing socio-economic goals, religiousness, religiosity. Giving one example of religiousness, it was the news that 8 out of 10 people want India to be a multi-religious country. India does not belong to one of the sects. This was the Lokniti CSDS survey. So why, and based on what it is changing into a common interest? Communalism. When it will change into communalism? What are the problems with the Muslims? Why there is a foxification, or as you call it, shouting in the Indian media has increased. Fox is a channel in the United States, and the anchor of it shouts since 1996, and they have been shouting since 1996, and they support Trump. Okay, now we have our own parlance in the Indian journalism. Arnav ji hai hamare. So you will see that there has been a trend towards foxification of Indian journalism. So what are the reasons of it? So you have to. What are the two major initiatives? This is one of the relative simpler question. In state India, addressing discriminations against the scheduled tribe, has the formation of linguistic states strengthened the cause in the unity? Now, these are the year-wise questions. I just want you to go through it once. What is cryptocurrency? How does it affect the global society? Has it been affecting Indian society also? What is cryptocurrency? Huh? अच्छा चलो, what is currency? देखो कितना simple है. What is currency? What is cryptocurrency? So you have to understand what is currency for understanding what is cryptocurrency, isn't it? What is currency? It is a medium of exchange. Simple था. It is a system of trust. है कि नहीं है? See, I am accepting just a piece of paper just because I trust you, and it is being legitimized by any of the government that yes, this is the currency. है कि नहीं? So at least these two elements are very essential for understanding the currency. Cryptocurrency, who owns the cryptocurrency? ट्रस्ट ही तो गायब है ना. मीडियम ऑफ एक्सचेंज है, कमी है. So, and why cryptocurrency has become popular? Because people were not trusting the CBDCs, है ना. इसीलिए थोड़ा सा एक्सचेंज सिस्टम बहुत ज्यादा पॉपुलर. तो ये सारी बेसिक्स, एंड आपको ये देखो क्रिप्टो करेंसी वाला पार्ट जो टेक्नोलॉजिकल पार्ट है, आप डेफिनेशन लिख दोगे, फॉर्म्स लिख दोगे, बट अगर ये थोड़ा सा ट्रस्ट वाला पार्ट लिखोगे तो आपको ज्यादा नंबर आने, है ना. सो यू विल स्कोर मोर बिकॉज यू नो द फंडामेंटल्स ऑफ एनी ऑफ द क्वेश्चंस. नाउ 2022, so these are the questions. See, previously there was fundamental questions. Now of late it is a completely current based questions with emphasis on fundamentals also. These are the questions of 2023. Why did human development fail to keep pace with the economic development in India? Do you think that marriage as a sacrament is losing its value in modern India? लगता है? रणवीर कपूर दीपिका पादुकोण को देख के, रणवीर सिंह and और भी बतेरे examples हैं वैसे तो. Do you think that marriage is a sacrament? What is sacrament? What is the system, change in the overall system? That in case of Hindu marriage system, marriage was always a transcendental phenomena, 7 जन्मों के लिए. ठीक है, अभी क्या है? चेंज तो हो रहा है ना. Sacramental मतलब which was pious. Now it is contract based marriage. तो ये सारी चीजें आपको देखनी पड़ेगी, समझनी पड़ेगी. Discuss the impact of post-liberal economy on ethnic identity and communalism. Post-liberal economy and ethnic identity and communalism. क्या weaken हुई है, क्या strong हुई है? Ethnic identities and communalism. Why it has increased and become more strong? Communalism. What are the reasons? अब यहां अगर इस क्वेश्चन को हम आंसर देने जाएंगे तो अगेन वी विल हैव टू फॉल बैक टू यूएसएसआर और द डिसइंटीग्रेशन ऑफ द यूएसएसआर. डू यू थिंक दैट देयर इज एनी कॉमन पॉइंट बिटवीन डिसइंटीग्रेशन ऑफ द यूएसएसआर एंड राइज ऑफ कम्युनलिज्म? कुछ लग रहा है आपको? ऐसा कुछ रिलेशन बन सकता है? सोच के देखो एक बार. एटलीस्ट ट्राई टू थिंक एनालिटिकली. एंड दिस इज व्हाट यू हैव टू डू व्हाइल रीडिंग द न्यूज़पेपर. No, I'm talking about right now, we are talking about the disintegration of USSR and communalism. No. You see, that, previously Communist Party of India used to function or, you used to get seats, maybe 50, 60, 26, 27. There was a significant number of the seat of the Communist Party of India. Right now, they are only getting seats in Kerala, not in Bengal, and wherever they get it are in the alliance. So, for example, last time they scored got around one seat in Lok Sabha in Tamil Nadu. Okay. So, you see, in the time of USSR, at the time of USSR, communalism acted as an ideology. किस चीज के लिए? परसिक्यूशन के लिए. गरीब लोग कम्युनिज्म के पास जाएंगे तो उनको न्याय मिलेगा. दे विल गेट जस्टिस व्हेन दे विल प्रोटेस्ट विद द मीडियम ऑफ कम्युनिज्म. With the disintegration of the USSR, that feeling vanished because communism failed to act as an integrating agent. नहीं है कि नहीं? So they knew any of the persecuted class needs something new. Religion gave them that feeling. 2003 Iraq war, what was the slogan? By the Iraqis people. No to America, no to Saddam, yes to democracy, yes to Islam. This was the slogan, na? So now in this case, religion acted as a binding force. Religion acted as an integrating force. There can be multiple use of religion. ये भी क्वेश्चन आ सकता है. For example, what is this कड़ा? देखो भाई इनके पास है कड़ा. What is the use of कड़ा? One of the that in a religion सेव करने के लिए. Other it can be used as a bottle opener. है कि नहीं? तो there can be multiple use of anything. ये सारे आइडेंटिफाई करने हैं आपको और यही चीज हमारी सोसाइटी में पार्ट है. And probably I must have covered that, there was a recent, see, this is the topic which we have discussed. Compartmentalization of any topic is not possible. A topic has to be dealt in a holistic way. It can include most of the things covered under the syllabus. Relevancy and succinctness of the point is needed. I have written Ram Ahuja, but you don't have to refer to it. NCERT, class notes, and newspaper is the most important source that you will get for the society section. Now, how to read? इसको कितने लोग जानते हैं? कोई नहीं जानता. ये बहुत फेमस थी अभी 2 महीने पहले. AI based CEO of Bangalore who killed. हाँ, exactly, 6-year-old son. क्यों मारा? हार्वर्ड से एजुकेटेड है, पढ़ाई में अच्छी थी, स्टेबल करियर था. So these are the trends that you have to identify. See, parents may perceive killing their children as a way to alleviate perceived suffering because her relation with his husband was not that good. So she thought that maybe at some point of time these children will suffer. So children may be seen as an obstacle to parents leaving. Her startup was doing really good in AI sector. Okay, leading to their removal. Marital turmoil and divorce can amplify these feelings. This is the reason how to analyze any of the topics, particularly filicide, if we talk about the filicide. Conflict between startup culture and the traditional corporate culture. This is the reason because corporate culture में ऐसा नहीं हो रहा है, startup में क्यों हो रहा है ऐसा? Or this is not one of the isolated events. There are a lot of conflict which is ongoing between the corporate culture and the traditional culture. Traditional corporate culture में ऐसा नहीं है. So these are the parts that how is the organizational structure. That startup culture is often characterized by the flat, agile structure promoting a more fluid and dynamic environment. In contrast, traditional corporate culture typically adhere to a hierarchical, bureaucratic system which can lead to slower decision-making process and more rigid organizational framework. है ना? किस चीज की याद दिला रही है सेकंड लाइन? पढ़ के देखो एक बार ढंग से. In contrast, traditional corporate culture. है कि नहीं? सिर्फ गवर्नमेंट है? Any of the corporate culture. See, what is an organization where there is a hierarchy? एक टॉप पे होगा, वो कुछ ऑर्डर देगा, नीचे वाला फॉलो करेगा, नीचे वाला फॉलो करेगा. तो ब्यूरोक्रेसी जो है वो हायरार्की है कि नहीं है? तो क्या पियोन ब्यूरोक्रेसी का पार्ट है नहीं है? If someone is working as a peon, can he be considered as a part of bureaucracy? Or bureaucracy only means IS, IPS, IRS? He is a part of bureaucracy, na? The one who is acting up as a constable in Rajendra Nagar, in the streets of Rajendra Nagar, he is also a bureaucrat. ब्यूरोक्रेट मतलब आईएएस तो नहीं होता ना सिर्फ. हाँ, हम उसे एसएलबीस कहते हैं, स्ट्रीट लेवल ब्यूरोक्रेसी. यही है ना? वर्क लाइफ बैलेंस स्टार्टअप्स में कुछ नहीं है, ठीक है. इफ यू कैन वर्क फॉर 24 hours, often blurring the lines between personal and professional. In contrast, traditional tend to have more clear defined work hours and stronger emphasis on work life separations. आर्मी में एट्रिशन रेट 37% है. 37% ऑफिसर्स अपनी जॉब को छोड़ देते हैं. Risk tolerances. Startups are generally more willing to take risks driven by the need for rapid growth and innovation. Risk averse nature of the most established corporations. हम लोग आएंगे इवेंचुअली, हम इन सारी चीजों पे आएंगे, सब सारी चीजों को पढ़ेंगे. मुद्दा ये है कि अभी हम क्यों पढ़ रहे हैं इसको, दैट वी आर ट्राइंग टू अंडरस्टैंड हाउ टू सी द न्यूज and how to read that news and how to identify that there can be multiple relation based on which question can be asked. हमने पहले देखा फिलियल सुसाइड पे, इन्फेंटिसाइड पे, उससे रिलेशन क्या है कि भाई एक क्वेश्चन ये भी तो बन सकता है ना कि कॉर्पोरेट कल्चर क्या है और स्टार्टअप कल्चर क्या है. Largely because that happened because of the corporate culture, startup culture. So as a corollary to this can be asked in the examination also. And if this is asked, then how we will attempt this question? So this is a relatively dimensions on which we try to identify this. Similarly, अगर हम सुशांत सिंह राजपूत की बात करें, क्योंकि हमेशा वो ट्रेंड होता ही रहता है, पढ़ा है ना सुशांत सिंह राजपूत के बारे में, वो मारा गया कि नहीं मारा गया, वो हमेशा. I hope that everybody knows who Sushant Singh Rajput was and why people are still remembering him. एक तो पहले वो इंजीनियर था जो सक्सेसफुल था, ठीक है, तो this is one of the reason. Okay, so you see that probably people identified that even a middle class engineer can end up in Bollywood and act in a very good way. So this created a kind of symphony with nearly all the middle class persons and engineers. But if we will try to analyze the life of Sushant Singh Rajput, so he has 3 elder sisters, and there was a complete conflict in his life because he migrated from Bihar after death of his mother to Delhi to Bombay. So you see that there was a complete anomy, or you see the disturbance, the pattern, the norms were not formed. And based on this, with drug culture, which seemingly is cool to some of the sections in India, he committed suicide. So you see that, what exactly is happening. For example, until 1972, nobody considered that there are social crimes. They considered that any of the criminal is inherent psychological and it is genetic in that sense. Now, of late, there has been realization that these crimes arise because or happens because that there was some structural flaw in the society itself. है ना? तो ये सारे ट्रेंड्स हमें थोड़ा कॉम्प्लिकेटेड लग रहा होगा सुनने में, बिकॉज यू सी दिस सोसाइटी सेक्शन इज नॉट ओनली द सोसाइटी सेक्शन. We have to understand polity for it. We have to understand history, to a certain extent geography. History, polity and geography are at least needed to understand any of the things in the society section. Geography क्यों? भाई हिमाचल, उत्तराखंड और साउथ इंडिया में इगलिटेरियनिज्म है, वुमेन काफी इंपॉर्टेंट होती हैं, ये नॉर्थ में क्यों नहीं है? In northeast, the position of the woman is also very important, or any of the tribal state. In south, because the iron was found first. In Himachal, because and Uttarakhand, because largely they were hunting-gathering society. What is the relation? What the discovery of iron has to do with the position of the woman? क्या हो सकता है रीजन? कुछ है? कुछ लग रहा है? नहीं, डिस्कवरी ऑफ द आयरन हुई, सो एग्रीकल्चरल डेवलप्ड, so women people wanted to keep the land with themselves. That's how a different kind of marriage system developed. साउथ में कजिन्स में मैरिज होता है ना, क्रॉस कजिन्स मैरिज. What are the reasons? This is the reason, because they wanted to keep the land for themselves. As contrast to this, in the northern areas where iron was found later, but this was the ground where every time attack used to happen from different part of time. So people wanted their daughters to marry in some different or completely far away, so that they can visit in the times of the attack, or vice versa. Okay, so a different system of marriage developed. So इस marriage के कारण यहाँ पे patriarchy ज्यादा है और वहाँ पे matriarchy ज्यादा है, या पेट्रियार्की बहुत कम है. तो ये कहां से आया? यू विल फाइंड दिस व्हेन यू विल रीड हिस्ट्री एनसीईआरटी. एग्जैक्टली ऐसे नहीं है, तो ये तो इंटरप्रिटेशन है. सो व्हाट आर द सोसाइटी हैज टू बी अंडरस्टूड as I don't know exactly how many of you people have finished geography, polity and history, but I will try to keep it as simple as possible, so that at least you can have the brighter understanding of द सोसाइटी सेक्शन। कितने लोगों का क्या खत्म हुआ है पहले? क्या ये सारे एक ही बैच है या अलग अलग बैच है? ये अलग बैच है, वैसे बैठे हो पोजीशन वाइज। So how many of you have read history altogether? 4। आप दोनों? You too? Have you finished your history by yourself or किसी भी तरीके से? No? Have you finished your history? Polity? Polity किससे किससे खत्म हुआ है? Geography? हो गया? चलो सही है, हो जाएगा। I will try to keep it simple, don't worry about that. Okay, and I will try to teach you society in such a way that at least you enjoy it. So these are the syllabus. From tomorrow we will start our first class, which will be caste. So what we will study in caste is, what is caste system? I'm not saying that I will finish it. Development of the caste system during the colonial times, caste system after independence, and caste system after globalization. So these are the broader issues, because you see that caste, nearly every year 15 marks question will be there from the caste, and it is one of the most important feature of India. So salient feature of India. So brief introduction. क्या आपको लगता है कास्ट इंडिया के बाहर भी कहीं था? नहीं? नहीं? Huh? So, okay. So caste and race, everything will be covered. How many of you have heard the name of Michael Faraday? Faraday. Faraday नहीं सुना आप लोगों ने? आलिया भट्ट ने भी सुना यार इसको तो। केमिस्ट्री कितने लोगों ने पढ़ा है? ग्रेजुएशन 12th 8वीं 9वीं लेवल पे सबने तो पढ़ा होगा ना, तो फैराडे का नाम तो पता होना चाहिए आप लोगों को। बैटरी तो उसी पे चल रही है यार, इलेक्ट्रोलिसिस तो वही की है ना, फैराडे ही तो की है ना। हम फैराडे का नाम क्यों ले रहे हैं? Faraday was a clear example of caste system. In England, there was a feudal and serf wala system. Though Faraday belonged to serf class and he was a great scientist, if we consider, then he can be in the leagues of Einstein, because Einstein is considered as a theoretical scientist, whereas Faraday was considered as a experimental scientist. And in the category of experimental scientist, he is considered the greatest. But he was not allowed to travel on the horse cart with the scientist inside the horse cart. He always used to drive or sit by the driver's side, just because of his social position. The same thing can be witnessed in the Japanese society also, where there was a fragmentation based on birth. And caste system is a curious example of a fragmentation or division in the society based on birth. So it is not that caste system is unique to India. It can be found anywhere. But something makes caste system unique to India. So we will discuss that tomorrow. Any questions related to society or what will be our approach, you can ask, you can shoot. कोई क्वेश्चन है किसी के पास में? नहीं? चलो सही है फिर, तो हम लोग कल मिलते हैं फिर 11 बजे। ओके, ट्रांसलेट। Okay, so we will meet tomorrow with caste system as our first lecture.